Update. Would I be the a-hole if I tell HR about my past with a new coworker? Original post. I, 34 male, am a lead developer on a team of mid-sized SaaS company that has 100 or so employees. Basically, we are large enough that there are employees we can see, recognize, but not necessarily know their names. Recently, we had a new hire, Krista, a 33 female who joined a project managing part of the project I'm working on. I have a history with Krista from college. In college, I was a lot more in my own shell. I didn't really treat myself well and was very much the introverted nerd, down to bad posture and poor fashion sense. Krista, she did have quite a few friends in college, but at least in my view, she wasn't super popular, but she was well-liked and was conventionally attractive. We shared a few classes together, and one day she asked me for some help on an assignment. I helped her on it and we talked, and from the sound of things, she seemed genuinely friendly to me. I helped her on a few more assignments, and finally she asked me if I wanted to meet her after class at a coffee shop and talk. I said sure, and when I got there, Krista was nowhere in sight. I waited about 20 minutes before I called her. She answered and started laughing, and I heard several other voices laughing. Krista saying something like, "Why would I want to date a fat loser like you?" Looked out the front window of the shop and saw one of Krista's friends holding up her camera phone, and it looked like she was recording. Next few weeks, there were jokes about me. Flyers with my face from the coffee shop video plastered up with creep and bold letters on top. I kept my head down, and within a month, the next big thing popped up on campus and I was forgotten. Didn't stop Krista and her friends from going, "Ew, creep," when they saw me. But I guess for the rest of the campus it got old, so I never got accused of anything or even really ostracized by the rest of the student body. After college, I did learn about self-care a bit better. Plus, I usually am with other programmers, so I really don't stand out as a social outcast. When Krista was introduced to our team, I don't think she recognized me. And it's only been a week, but I want to know if bringing up the college incident is even worth it for HR. Most of my rational brain really wants to just let this go, treat Krista as a new person, and get on with me. But I have a small fear that she might tell a skewed version of the college events and sour the team I'm on against me, so I should at least disclose to HR. So in case she does start telling tales, I have recourse. Reddit. Would I be the a-hole if I told HR about my past with Krista? Now for the top comments before reading the updates. You should report it and have it documented so she can't turn anything around on you. I'd also ask if she can be put onto another project. I agree, and I wouldn't give HR too many details unless they ask. I would just let them know that she previously bullied and harassed you. Bruh, she made false allegations around campus about you being a creep because she asked you on a date and stood you up as a prank. She's a scumbag. What if she goes to HR and tells them you were a creep in college, came onto her, and tries to go after your job by getting you fired? Go to HR, report it, get head on it. If she says something, a response will always be seen as defensive and potentially lying. What if they have it on the record that she has a history of bullying and labeling people creeps? When she tries it again, they'll have serious trouble believing her and be keeping an eye on it and make someone else her direct supervisor, etc. So you'll be in less situations she could lie about. Say you don't want to be involved in any decisions about wages, firing, hiring, promotions, or being her direct supervisor. I think you should practice what you plan on saying to HR until you almost sound bored, relaying the facts as dispassionately as possible. I recently met a new hire, and I know her from college. She started and spread several rumors about me, then harassed me for X number of years, enlisting the help of a few of her friends. I wanted to request that we not be partnered in any projects going forward. Not that I harbor any resentment, but I want to protect my good name. Someone more eloquent and better versed in businessese language could probably put it together better. But that's the gist of it. Good luck and update us, please. Now for the first update. Yesterday some things happened. Some bad, mostly good. There were mixed responses, most telling me to tell, but one HR professional saying I shouldn't. Due to the mixed messaging, I did consult a local employment lawyer. The lawyer told me that I should make HR aware of the past I have with Krista, but make it clear that there was never anything disciplinary acted upon me in college. He asked if my job had a copy of my transcript, and I verified that it did. Lawyer asked if there were any third parties that would verify the harassment, and see if I could get their names and contact details if needed. I knew two people back in college that I still had on my LinkedIn and was certain they would tell the truth, so we were good there. Lawyer told me to just request a meeting with HR and my supervisor. Say there was a past with Krista, there was never any charges or disciplinary action, and I have two witnesses if they ever need verification. So that was what I did. Friday morning, I came into the office and sent HR and my supervisor an email requesting a formal meeting at 10 a.m. My supervisor came to my desk and asked if everything was okay and wanted to make sure I was happy. I told him everything was fine, I wasn't leaving, and it wasn't anything with him or the team. He seemed relieved, and by 10 a.m. we rolled into the conference room with the HR officer. I thanked them both for taking time out of their day to meet me, and then I did as my lawyer instructed. I said that the new project manager, Krista, was someone I went to college with. She participated in harassment of me in college, detailed how I never had any charges or disciplinary action, and that I had two independent witnesses that sought harassment and gave their contact info. My supervisor seemed shocked, and the HR officer went through the info I gave her for a minute, and then the two of them talked for a minute. Finally, Krista was called in. When Krista walked into the conference room and saw me, HR and the team supervisor, she seemed shocked. HR started with something like, "We have been told you two have a past." Krista sat down and looked pretty shocked throughout. She did admit to the bullying but tried to reframe it as a misunderstanding repeatedly. She never outright said what the bullying was, but then she was told that since this was an incident in both our pasts that nobody wants brought up again, that it should stay dead. HR made it clear that this is not to be a funny water cooler story to share. Krista and I both agreed to that, but Krista still looked shaken. Noon was coming up right when the meeting was wrapping up. My supervisor and HR again reiterated, neither of us is to breathe a word about the college incident. We're professionals, and we're here to do a job. I went to the break room for lunch, and actually I felt like my appetite has finally returned. The last few days were stress-starving me, to be honest. I sat at a table with the rest of the developing team and we started eating. Halfway through my sandwich, another coworker, Sandy 30 female, came by and said, "So I heard an interesting story yesterday about you and Krista," with a big grin on her face. She didn't get further because my supervisor was at our table, stood up, pointed at Sandy and across the room at Krista and said, "You two, conference room, now." I wasn't privy to what happened in the conference room, but I did see the HR officer go into the room 2 minutes later, looking pretty ticked off and with a mustard stain on her shirt. I guess she got the call and was interrupted during lunch. Not sure what went on. The rest of the team asked what that was. I said, "I have no idea," and just kept eating. 5 minutes later, two more coworkers on the other parts of the project were brought into the conference room. Lunch ended and we went back to work, but speculation was high. It wasn't until 3 that the conference room finally emptied. Krista looked like she was crying, and the others that were in the room with her seemed to treat her quite coldly. Not sure what this will mean, but it appears for now Krista is still working here. But I appreciate the lengths HR and my supervisor are taking to ensure this won't blow up further. "You two, conference room, now." I actually smirked like the Grinch when I read that. It is awesome that your HR department acted so quickly. It is obvious that Krista hasn't grown up even a little bit since college. She's still there though, and she'll come back to talk. Bullies thrive in keeping others down. She won't be able to help herself. I'm curious what kind of story she told Sandy, the coworker that had her running to Opie with a big grin on her face. There was nothing remotely amusing about what happened. Same, dying to know. I'm reassured by the fact the new coworkers were treating Sandy coldly by the end of the meeting with HR. She won't do super well. I bet she may even find a new job. We'll see. Bullies stay bullies. What an abhorrent witch. I want her fired. Nah, make her squirm. Make her so uncomfortable. Make it worse than constantly stepping on Legos. Make it worse than an itch you can't reach. She won't squirm. She'll keep talking crap about Opie until she's gone. I can't imagine why HR didn't let her go. They just told her to not gossip about the incident, and she ran right out and spread a story, or her version of it, to multiple people. What's the point of keeping her around? Second update. Monday wasn't a crap show, so that was good. My supervisor and the HR officer did bring everyone on the team into the big conference room for the HR officer. Said that we're a professional company, and while we do like to have fun, there are company outings like golf, bowling, main event. We are to be strictly professional and not gossip about coworkers' personal lives. Sandy and the two other coworkers who were brought into the conference room Friday looked pretty ashamed during this. Krista was sitting at the other end of the conference room table, and there seemed to be a noticeable distance between her and the other employees. My supervisor said he wants to consider this matter closed, and for us to get back to offering great solutions to our clients. Everyone filed out of the conference room and went back to work. Lunch on Monday was pretty tense, but Tuesday, management had a local Mexican place bring a Taco Tuesday for us, and the mood improved considerably. I don't gossip, but I did hear murmurs that Krista is now on her final warning and put on a performance improvement plan, all within her first 2 weeks. Not sure how true these rumors are, but with how isolated Krista now appears to be to the rest of the team, it is clear that everyone else is not willing to socialize with her beyond their work functions. I consider this matter closed myself, and if Krista worked hard and got her redemption arc, I'd have been fine with it. But then last night happened. Not sure where Krista got my address, but she was outside my house last night, and luckily my doorbell camera caught it, so I can pretty accurately transcribe it. She rang and asked if we could talk. I said through the digital doorbell there was nothing to talk about, and she better leave because this is now harassment. She pleaded for me to come outside and discuss it. I declined and emphasized she's not welcome. She then said she had a crush on me in college, that her friends found out she asked me to coffee and pressured her to turn it into a harassment campaign, and she was afraid of them disowning her for liking a guy like me. Guys, I wanted to laugh so freaking hard. I was socially awkward back in college, but even I knew this was BS. Heck, I wasn't even interested in Krista for a date. I thought she wanted to be my friend. I told her that I didn't care what she has to say. She has to leave. She told me I could just ask Sandy what she told her and it would clear this all up. I declined and said that this matter in the office is closed. Krista finally made an exaggerated sigh and walked off. I took the video recording from the doorbell and sent it to the employment lawyer and will give it to my supervisor in HR today. I will be shocked if she will last longer than this Friday now. Now for the comments before the last update. OP, the matter is resolved. Company, the matter is resolved. Krista, it's resolved. But how can I make this worse for myself? Krista, it's resolved, but I feel like I lost, and I want to win. It wasn't resolved to her because her reputation had taken a hit and people were closely watching her at work. She was ostracized and management was on the verge of getting rid of her, and she knew it. Of course, to her, owning up and working hard at changing her image would take too long. So why not just try to become chummy with OP, even if it puts back the target on her back? LMAO. Now for the last update. Krista is fired. I didn't even have to send HR the doorbell cam vid, but I did send it to the lawyer I was talking to. Lawyer is drafting a cease and desist and potentially a restraining order if needed. Krista somehow got my address from someone in IT. The IT new hire is suspended because of this data breach, and everyone got a memo about data security yesterday morning, including the usual about phishing scams. Krista's desk was empty when I came in yesterday morning, and since I'm taking the necessary legal steps, I'm considering this matter closed. Last story. Am I the a-hole for loudly confronting my coworker in front of everyone when she wrongfully believed I had groomed my wife? I'm 30 years old and male. My wife, Jessica, is 22. My wife has his 7-year-old son, Max, who she had when she was 15 years old. The father, who was her boyfriend in junior high school and is the same age as her, actually left the state when he and his family learned that she was pregnant. Jessica has no idea where he is, and since her family is well off, she didn't really need her care for support. I met Jessica when she was 20. We dated for a year, and then got married when she was 21. I love Max, and raising him as if he was my own son. Last month, Max came to my workplace with Jessica in the early afternoon to surprise me with a lunch outing. As they waited for me to finish up a meeting, the front desk secretary Claire chatted with Jessica. I wasn't there for the conversation, but Claire was stunned at how young Jessica looked, and Jessica said she was 22. Apparently, Claire did a bit of napkin math and came to the following conclusions. 1. Jessica is 22 and I'm 30. 2. Max is 7. 3. That means Jessica and I had Max when she was 15 and I was 23. Apparently, from that day on, Claire began gossiping about this. I had no idea what was going on, but I did notice that Claire abruptly changed her attitude towards me, glaring when she thought I wasn't looking, or rolling her eyes when I talked to other people. Well, today at work, when I was in the bathroom washing my hands, I overheard Claire gossiping with a new hire about my underage wife outside the door by the water cooler. I left the bathroom and then walked up behind Claire. She turned around and looked like a deer in the headlights at me, and so I announced, loudly, "Hi Claire, you see, I am not Max's biological father. In all of your gossiping to other people, you forgot to consider the most obvious possibility, which was that I am his stepfather. I will, by the way, be reporting you to the HR for this." I headed directly to HR and explicitly told them what Claire had said, and the manager, a fellow gossip friend of Claire's, asked if I really wanted to escalate over something so small. I said yes. She then told me Claire is a single mother and relies on his job, and that I shouldn't have embarrassed her in front of the office like that. I insisted on filing a report. After calming down a bit, I feel kind of bad about what I did. Claire cried at her desk and left early. Was I an a-hole to approach the issue that way? Now for the comments. Not a-hole. She basically called you a pedophile. If she cared that much about her job, perhaps she might have gotten all her facts straight before she started gossiping about you. Absolutely escalate this. Yeah, accusing someone of being a pedo isn't a small issue. If she so desperately needs her job, she should have thought before she spoke such a horrible accusation. I say let her butt get fired. And HR for engaging in it. OP could threaten to sue the company if they both aren't fired, although that might have consequences. I work in HR and have for the last 10 years. This was so inappropriate for the HR representative to say. They are to uphold company policies and laws. They are also supposed to be confidential. So not only did they not do their job by supporting and investigating your claim, they also participated and then disclosed personal information about another employee. You need to take it higher up and include HR representative in your claim. Not a-hole. You can go ahead and add a manager to your HR complaint too. On top of tanking your career, accusations of grooming are life-ending. Gather evidence and present an assertive case to HR. I'm definitely thinking of escalating the HR directly to the company's CEO, whom I'm on great terms with. I didn't expect HR to rush to the defense of the person calling me a freaking pedo. You should definitely escalate this. It's not a small issue when someone implies you groomed and impregnated an underage child. You don't know who else heard this rumor. It could have ruined your life. If the single mom card was going to be played, she should have behaved like a single mom desperate to keep her job. Instead, she behaved like a gossiping Karen.